Well, I was hoping to get these off the truck before it started raining. This is the ETHOS Power Rack 1. Comes in 3 boxes. Each one of them is very heavy, especially the long one. Definitely requires a team lift. Okay, box tops off. Looks like these are the main supports in the long one. Got some additional supports here. Actually, these look like the support arms. Maybe not. And then this is a J-hook, it looks like. It actually looks like the hardware comes pretty well packaged and labeled. So that's nice. Alright, first things first was to lay out all the parts to make sure I had everything. That's my tool set. Have all the brackets. There's 8 of these little guys. There's 4 of these. The main structural supports. Here's the other brackets. So I've got everything. Everything came that said it was going to come in the manual. Time to assemble it. I'm going to put it here because this is the flattest spot in my garage. Determine this is what they mean by standing at the back. These are labeled front and front. They want the ETHOS logo to be able to be read from the inside of the rack. And then this is considered the back. So this is the base plate back here, and if you stand back here, then the directions make sense. And this is the right one, labeled right, with the logo facing inside. And that's the left one, both facing forward to the front. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna take an L-shaped bracket on the outside and a flat bracket on the inside. And from here, you're going to bolt up. So first you're going to line up these 2 holes in the bottom with these 2 holes, these last 2 holes, and then the same on this other side. And then you're going to put in a bolt, a washer, go through go through this L-shaped bracket, go through this leg, go through the flat bracket and then the base plate. Then on the other side add this other washer and then the nut. And of course you're gonna hand tighten all of these things before you tighten any with a wrench after it's all buttoned up. Okay, so I lined up the L-shaped bracket. I put 2 bolts through, and there is a washer, so bolt then washer, through the L-shaped bracket, through the base, through the flat bracket, and then through this base here, and then another washer on the inside and a nut. So I repeat that for here and here. And I'm going to repeat that on the other side. So as you can see, the unassembled. I'm just lining up the 2 holes on here with the 2 holes on here with the 2 holes on here. Okay, so the next step here is you're taking the 2 beams and you're inserting them into the brackets and you're lining them up. So there's 2 holes on either side and you're lining them up with this hole and this hole. And then you're putting them in. So on the bottom hole, you have the number 26 4 1/8 inch hex bolts because it has to go through this plate, the beam, this plate, and the bottom bracket. So it's a little bit longer. Then the top hole is this number 32 4 inch hex bolts. It only has to go through the bracket, the I-beam, and this other bracket. So again, I'm just hand tightening for now until everything is in place. Do the same on the other side. So the directions actually want you to put this cross support on this beam first before you put this other beam up. And I think the reason they do that is just so you know how far away you have to put this beam on the support leg. But I didn't want, I mean, you could see because I only hand tighten these, this is still really loose. So I didn't want all this unsupported weight because that cross support is pretty heavy on that high. Basically, I was just like, why can't I just put this leg on And now I'm just going to slide this support in between the two and tighten them up, and that way it's not sitting there hanging unsupported. I mean, I'm sure you could do it the other way. It wouldn't really do that much damage to the bolts or anything. It made more sense for me to set up this one. And for this bracket, it's the same as the back one, except the bolts, because you don't have that extra middle floor support, all the bolts are the number 32 4-inch hex bolts. So this bolt, which go through here, through the L bracket, through the bottom support, through this bracket, and then these two bolts, which go through the bracket, through the vertical support, and then through the other bracket. Same setup, bolt, washer, nut. Okay, so in order to install this top support, you have a small bracket here, and you got the two bolts. Again, same setup, bolt, washer, nut. And these ones at the top these bolts at the top are all the 4 1/8. So you got the bracket here, you got the middle support beam, and you kind of really gonna need somebody else probably to hold this up while you put these bolts in. Either way you do it, whether you put both vertical supports on first and then put the cross beam, or you let the cross beam hang there like they kind of suggest and then put this other support beam up, you're really gonna need somebody else probably to hold that beam up so you can line it up. So I've done that on both sides now. And now the next step is to put what they call the chin-up bar in the back, and that's this bar here. A little bit thick for a chin-up bar, but I guess that's why they have what they call the monkey bar, which is going to go in the middle for actual chin-ups. Okay, so now I have that chin-up bar in the back installed, and on that it's just again one of these smaller brackets, the bolt setup going through, chin-up bar on both sides. Again, it kind of helps to have somebody hold that up there where you put it through on both sides. Okay, so that's the monkey bar as they call it, put up. And so again, this is now the same bracket, little bracket sideways, two of the bolts. It's got a little lip on top, so that's how you know it's right side up, and it's supposed to concave upward. And it's got this lip on top, if you can see that. Kind of helps support your weight on both sides. And now this whole thing is pretty rickety, it's got a lot of movement, and that's because I hand tightened the whole thing like it said. And that makes it easier to line up, you know, the last pieces there. So now everything's all lined up. Now it's just time to tighten everything down. Okay, now at this point I went around and tightened every single bolt up with a ratchet. Everything's all tight. You use all of the hardware to do so. Every nut, washer, and bolt. Now I slip these in here, these guards, and what you do is put this piece through. This is a metal sleeve to protect the bar. And then at the end they've got this little thing to keep it in place. And you can set this at, I don't know, a height that you would like to do rack pulls on, or I set it at a height that's probably where my bar would be in a low squat. Alright, so this is it completely set up. So these here, these support, you just put this in and you twist it, and then it's got this extra safety pin in the back so they stay on. I put those in a position that for safety on bench press. I don't have a bench yet though, so I'll figure out exactly what height to set them at. So you can kind of set them any one of these holes. Yeah, and then like I said, so these have this part, and these are my J hooks. I put these back here, probably set up right now for a squat. Again, you can set these at any height too, front or back, whatever you want to do with them. And they actually have these cool little magnetic holders that go in here and kind of secure it. You see it's magnetic. My camera would focus. You can see this is magnetic, so that's kind of cool. Secures the J hook a little bit more. So that's it. Overall, it looks pretty sturdy. They do recommend that you bolt them into the ground. They don't come with any masonry, or they don't come with any bolts to bolt it into the ground though, so you'd have to figure that out on your... Okay, so this is the next day. I am 6 foot tall even, and I'm not able to fully extend my body and my legs as I'd like to do pull-ups, but that's just how tall this is. I figured I would just do like a couple pull-ups on it just to show you basically the relative size of this equipment. Stay tuned. I plan on doing a full review on it once I start doing like some squats and bench press and things of that nature on it. Thanks for watching.